Hello there. I am Ricky Church for Flickering Myth,
Hey,
and
Ricky.
here I am today with voice actor Nolan North for his roles in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. How are you doing, Nolan?
I'm doing great, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for joining us. Start with Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's one of the biggest comic book events that's ever been made.
Yeah.
What does it feel like for you to have a couple of roles in this huge movie?
Absolute pleasure, privilege, honor. I mean, yeah, it was great. Uh, I, I've had the, opportunity to work with DC and Warner Brothers for a long, long time now. And, to get to be part of this, which I've been jokingly referring to as kind of my Hobbit, my Lord of the Rings type of trilogy type of deal. Um,
Mhm.
I had played an iteration of Green Lantern in the past, briefly, but then to get a couple other characters that I was able to explore and work with Amazo and the homeless man, as
Mhm.
many of us may know. He's not your ordinary homeless man. Um, to be part of that and be part of something that's been so well done, so well written, directed, is it's what I do. It's great.
Mhm. Yeah, and as you alluded to, you play Hal Jordan briefly in this movie. You
Mhm.
played him previously in Green Lantern: Beware My Power. So, what's it like for you to reprise that role? What's your take on a guy like Hal Jordan, who's been around as Green Lantern for decades now?
Yeah, it's another one of those iconic DC characters that you get to be part of. And I know you put him up there with Superboy, Superman. Doing those things. I was a big fan as a kid of the Justice League um, uh, show. I mean, back in the '70s and '80s, way
Hmm.
back when I was a kid, and um, I didn't really know too much about the Green Lantern except from some comic books that I had or some friends had, and but just to be able to play something like that, to be able to say you're a superhero. And even though it's fairly brief in this film, you get to see him come aboard and become part of something bigger in this, and just again, I know he's it's a brief. Uh, there's no I'll tell Hal there's no small roles. There's just cameos, and so
Yeah.
he had his time. But yeah, to be able to play something like that, it's and every vision of this character or any character like that is depends on the producers, the directors, the writer. Like they have their own sort of idea of what this character might be. And that's why he might be somebody different. It might be a different actor in a different project. And that's no big deal. It's just how does it fit what you're trying to do as a whole? I'm just very fortunate to be a few characters in something that will have more than just one. Um, uh, it has a couple more parts to it coming
Yeah.
down the line. So, um, yeah,
Nice.
so it's just bringing that character back is it's just like riding a bike. Come back and put on the suit, put on the ring,
Awesome. Yeah.
make good
And
decisions.
let And like you said, you also play Amazo, who in kind of his usual appearances, whether it's like the Justice League cartoon or
Mm.
comics and stuff, he's usually like presented as a villain to the Justice League. So, what can you tell us about this version of Amazo? How did you approach that role?
Well, it's always interesting playing any type of robotic or android type of character because uh, there's always discussions with the producers and everybody going, well, okay, how much does he know what emotion is? How much emotion would he show? Is he sort of like, is it a synthesized human emotion? It's funny that there's grown adults speaking about these kind of things in a room somewhere, but it makes it very important to the decisions, the final decisions on the character. And the idea that he, in this particular story, he's able to process a conscience, understand certainly emotions, and understand and make a distinction between right and wrong. Very, very rare that a robotic or android type character has a story, very human-like story arc.
Yeah, he's got a really interesting story in this movie.
Yeah, and I've talked to a number of people who were surprised that he invoked so much emotion to the viewer that they didn't expect, because it's he doesn't necessarily have facial expressions to show emotion or anything. It's just something that is seen through the way he speaks and his deeds. So I think that was very it was very different from anything I've ever been able to had the privilege to play. So and talking to a number of people today about it, I'm excited. I get to see this. And I'm really looking forward to it now, because I did not expect this reaction for that particular character.
Yeah, well, this is part one, and there's two more parts coming, and like I said, this is an adaptation of one of the biggest events that DC has done. Did you feel any kind of intimidation as to the scale of this project, with it being a three-parter?
No, are you kidding me? That's music to an actor's ears. I mean, it's like, oh, you need me for all three? I mean, I hope. No, I don't think that, the good news is, again, I've worked with DC and Warner for so many years. Wes Gleason, who did some of the voice directing, it's a friend. I've known him forever. And, just to be able to, when you get to jump back into these kind of things, there's a shorthand that with people. And I think one of the things that I've had the privilege to do this for so long, that you kind of understand how it works, how the animation works. The same way Fred Tatasciore or Steve Bloom or Jennifer Hale, any people like say veterans who've done it. Frank Welker knows what a script looks like, and when he's doing his script, and because I get questions all the time, like, how do you, if you're not in the room with everyone, how do you react? It's like, well, I read the other lines. So like I was telling someone, if I'm doing a scene with Superman or Flash, I can see what Flash says, and in my head I read it, and then I respond to what I'm thinking. And you kind of vary the different lines, how you may want it. The direction is always very important, how they want you to say it. But no, it's I mean, we're making animated films. It's so much fun. And it's one of my favorite things personally, because in my on-camera work, I know what it's going to kind of look like. I know what I look like. I know what that person's dressed like. We see dailies. We know what it's kind of, a couple of scenes. With this, we record, then they animate it, then we may do some pickup lines, but I get to see it when the fans see it. I don't really have an advanced copy. So I'm excited. I'm and I'm excited I just hope everybody receives this well and get excited for part 2 and 3, because you want that momentum, you want that excitement.
Yeah, for sure. And you even just said it yourself, you've done so many DC projects. Beware My Power, Battle of the Super Sons, a lot of the Lego DC movies, and like the Arkham games.
Young Justice, we did Young Justice.
Yes, well, I was just about to say, one of your most favorite roles, like from the fans, is Young Justice as Superboy and Superman. How do you feel about its legacy? Because it's got such a devoted fan base, and could they hope for more?
well, I could hope for more. I know the fans could. I go to a lot of the Comic-Cons around the country and around the world, honestly, and is there going to be another Young Justice, another Young Justice? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. There's the business side of distribution and all kinds of stuff that makes it difficult. And even though something can be a fan favorite, a hit, distribution is just can be a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah.
We always joke that we haven't been canceled. We just haven't been picked up yet. So, the fans played a big part in bringing us back, though. I think there's room for it. But it depends on, what Warner Brothers and DC, what they want to do, what their slate looks like. They may have other things, and then where does that fit?
Yeah.
And, the cost of production, stuff like that. You know what? I've spoke with Kari Payton, who played Aqualad, and I said, man, if we can do anything about it, we're going to try. I know that Brandon Vietti and Greg Weisman have ideas to go forward with it. I would be 1,000% in. Actually would like to, I have some, again, I've been doing a lot of work here in Atlanta, and there's some people who are, maybe, I would like to speak. I'm going to try to reach out to my Warner Brother contacts and see if I can't. I've told Kari, I said, I'm going to make one effort. Because people don't realize it's not about like, it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with how much we love to record that show.
Yeah.
I love the stories. Greg Weisman is one of the most passionate writers that you can imagine. Truly loves the story and loves the characters, and it shows. And there's such a devoted fan base. I think there's room for more personally. That said, I have no idea what the business plans are moving forward. Maybe there's a different iteration they want to bring up. I don't know, but I know that the fans love it. And if it truly is the end, I have been so happy to have been part of it. To say I got to be Superboy and Superman is a privilege.
Great. Awesome. Well, I hope there's more, and as I'm sure many do. Thank you very much for speaking with me. Looking forward to the rest of Crisis. It comes out on Tuesday, January 23rd.
Yep. Get your copy.
So pick it up, and thank you very much for speaking with me.
Thanks, Ricky. Take care, bud.